What if I told you that the most unforgettable woman in his life isn't the most beautiful, the most giving, or even the most available? She's the one who knows how to speak to his soul without saying much at all. You see, it's not your looks, your laugh, or that perfect dress that lingers in his mind. Those things might catch his attention, yes, but they don't haunt him. What haunts him is how you make him feel when you're no longer around. Let's be real. Most women fall into two traps. They either try too hard to impress him by constantly being available, or they overshare, thinking vulnerability will fast-track emotional intimacy. But neither creates that deep emotional imprint that keeps a man up at night, wondering about you. Now here's the twist. There's a more powerful way. One that doesn't require you to lose yourself, chase him, or play games. It's a way of speaking, of being, that taps into something ancient and irresistible, what I call dark Stoic psychology, a quiet magnetism rooted in emotional self-control, authenticity, and unshakable self-worth. In this video, I'm going to show you how high-value women use this energy to make a man miss them, not with words, but with presence. By the end, you won't just know how to make him miss you, you'll know how to leave a lasting imprint on his heart. Let's begin with the oldest seduction in the book, the power of mystery. 1. The mystery factor. Keep him intrigued. Picture this. You've just met someone who seems perfect on paper. He's charming, attentive, and full of stories. But here's the twist. After just one or two conversations, you feel like you already know everything about him. There's no intrigue, no unanswered questions, no reason to wonder what he's like when he's not around. The excitement fades and you move on. Now flip the script. Imagine meeting someone who offers just enough to captivate you but holds something back, making you wonder about the layers beneath the surface. That's the power of mystery. High-value women understand that being slightly elusive isn't about playing games. It's about creating a sense of depth and excitement that keeps a man coming back for more. How does this work in practice? It begins with how you communicate. When he asks you about your life, resist the urge to spill everything in one breath. Instead, give him a glimpse, a carefully chosen detail that sparks his curiosity. For instance, if he asks, "What do you do for work?" avoid the typical rundown of your daily tasks. Instead, say something like, "It's a little unconventional, but I absolutely love it. What about you?" This response does two things. It shifts the focus back to him while leaving a question mark in his mind about your life. That question mark is gold. It's what keeps his mind circling back to you. No, think about it. People are naturally drawn to things they don't fully understand. It's a psychological phenomenon. When something is left unresolved, our brain craves closure. By sharing just enough to intrigue but not enough to satisfy, you become unforgettable. But mystery isn't only about words, it's about presence. When you're with him, how do you carry yourself? High-value women know that subtle gestures speak volumes. A warm but fleeting smile, maintaining steady eye contact, or pausing thoughtfully before answering a question. All of these add layers to your persona. It's not about withholding who you are, it's about showing him there's more to explore. Now, let's address a common fear. Won't being mysterious make me seem distant or uninterested? The answer is no. When done right, mystery amplifies connection because it creates a space for him to invest emotionally. Imagine a conversation where you leave just enough unsaid that he finds himself replaying your words later, trying to piece together the puzzle. That mental engagement is the foundation of attraction. The art of mystery also involves restraint. In today's world, oversharing has become second nature. Social media encourages us to lay our lives bare for everyone to see, but high-value women know the power of selective sharing. By keeping certain aspects of your life private, you signal to him that not everything about you is readily available. This scarcity creates value. It makes him treasure the moments when you do open up. A key part of mystery is mastering the use of silence. Silence can be uncomfortable, but it's also one of the most powerful tools in communication. High-value women aren't afraid to let a moment of quiet linger after a thought-provoking statement or question. For example, if you ask him, "What's the most exciting thing you've done this year?" and he answers, "Let the silence hang for a moment." That pause compels him to elaborate, deepening the conversation naturally. It also gives him the impression that you're truly listening, which is incredibly magnetic. Finally, let's talk about timing. Mystery isn't just about what you say or don't say, it's also about when you say it. If you're too quick to respond to texts, too eager to meet up, or too available in general, you eliminate the tension that makes him miss you. By pacing your interactions and letting him wonder when he'll hear from you next, you create a push-pull dynamic that keeps the connection alive. So how can you start practicing this today? Begin by asking yourself these questions. Do I share too much too soon in conversations? Am I allowing enough silence for him to process and respond? Am I giving him the space to miss me, or am I always available? If the answer to any of these questions is no, you have an opportunity to shift the dynamic. Remember, mystery isn't about deception. It's about creating space for him to explore who you are and what makes you unique. When you master this, you'll notice something remarkable. He won't just miss you when you're gone. He'll start to look forward to your presence, craving the moments when he gets to peel back another layer of the enigma that is you. Ready to explore the next layer of connection? Let's dive deeper into the emotional impact that makes every interaction unforgettable. Stay with me, because this is where the magic truly begins. 2. Emotional impact. Make every conversation memorable. What do you think lingers in a man's mind long after a conversation ends? Is it the words you said or the emotions you stirred? If you've ever replayed a conversation in your head because it made you laugh, touched your heart, or sparked your imagination, you already understand the power of emotional impact. This is where high-value women shine. They don't just talk, they create experiences. To make a man miss you, it's not enough to engage him in casual small talk. You have to take him on an emotional journey. Think of each conversation as an opportunity to create highs and lows, moments of laughter, and sparks of deeper connection. High-value women know how to steer a conversation beyond the surface, making it a memorable experience he'll want to relive again and again. But how do you do this? Let's start with the questions you ask. A high-value woman doesn't waste time with cliches like, "How was your day?" Instead, she dives into topics that matter. She might ask, "What's the most exciting thing you've done lately?" Or, "If you could wake up anywhere in the world tomorrow, where would it be, and why?" These questions ignite his imagination and make him feel something beyond the ordinary. They invite him to open up and share more of himself, creating a bond that feels special and intimate. So when he answers, listen not just to his words, but to the emotions behind them. If he talks about a goal he's passionate about, acknowledge his enthusiasm with something like, "I can tell that really lights you up. It's inspiring to hear you talk about it." This shows him you're not only listening, but seeing him. People crave this kind of recognition, and it leaves a deep impression. Now let's talk about storytelling, one of the most overlooked tools of emotional impact. When you share a story, don't just recount the facts. Invite him into the experience. For example, instead of saying, "I went hiking last weekend," paint a vivid picture. "Last weekend, I hiked this trail that felt like it led straight into the clouds. By the time I reached the top, the view took my breath away. It was one of those moments where you feel completely alive." A story like this doesn't just inform, it evokes emotion. Your stories should have a purpose. They can reveal something about your values, your adventurous spirit, or even your vulnerabilities. The key is to strike a balance. Show enough to let him feel connected to you, but hold back just enough to leave him wanting more. Remember, this ties back to the mystery we discussed earlier. But storytelling isn't just about your life. It's also about creating shared moments. When he shares something meaningful, respond in a way that deepens the connection. For instance, if he tells you about a childhood memory, say, "That's such a vivid memory. I can almost picture it. How did that experience shape who you are today?" This kind of response takes the conversation to a deeper emotional level, making him feel understood and valued. There's another element to emotional impact that's often overlooked: playfulness. Attraction thrives in moments of lightness and fun. Tease him in a way that feels natural, like playfully challenging something he says. You really think pineapple belongs on pizza? I don't know if we can be friends anymore. Laughter creates an emotional high, and emotional highs are addictive. A high-value woman also understands the art of compliments. But here's the secret. Don't just compliment his appearance, compliment his character. Saying, "I admire how passionate you are about your work," or "I love how you always find humor in things," will resonate on a deeper level. These kinds of compliments show that you're paying attention to who he is, not just how he looks, and that makes them unforgettable. As you create these emotional moments, don't underestimate the power of strategic pauses. Sometimes the most impactful thing you can do is let a statement or question linger. For example, after asking him, "What's one thing you've always wanted to do but haven't yet?" Pause and let the silence draw him in. That space gives him time to reflect, and it creates a moment of intimacy that words alone can't achieve. The goal of every conversation isn't to impress him, it's to make him feel something. When you do this successfully, he'll start associating you with those feelings. You'll remember how you made him laugh, how you encouraged him to share, and how you saw him in a way others rarely do. Those emotional experiences are what make him miss you when you're not there. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever had a conversation where you felt deeply connected to someone? What made it stand out? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to know. And if you're finding these insights valuable, don't forget to like this video so more people can discover it. Your engagement helps keep this channel growing and brings us closer to building a community of high-value women supporting one another. Stay with me, because in the next part, we're diving into the importance of first impressions and how to set the stage for desire from the moment you meet him. This next secret will change the way you think about introductions forever. Let's keep going. 3. The power of first impressions set the tone for desire. Have you ever considered how much power lies in the very first few moments you meet someone? The way you look, move, and speak in those initial seconds can determine whether a man remembers you or forgets you entirely. It's not just about the words you say. It's about the energy you bring into the room and the subtle signals you send. High-value women understand that a first impression isn't about being flashy or trying to impress. It's about creating an atmosphere of intrigue and warmth that lingers long after the initial encounter. When done right, a powerful first impression doesn't just catch his attention. It sets the tone for everything that follows, laying the foundation for him to think about you long after you've said goodbye. So what makes a memorable first impression? It all starts with confidence. Confidence is magnetic. It can draw someone in before you even say a word. A high-value woman walks into a room with her head held high, her shoulders back, and her movements deliberate. She doesn't rush or fidget. Instead, she takes her time, as though she belongs exactly where she is. This kind of poise communicates volumes. It says, "I am comfortable in my own skin. I know my worth." But here's the thing, confidence isn't something you can fake. It's rooted in how you feel about yourself. If you believe you're bringing something valuable to the table, others will feel it too. This is where the principles of Stoicism come into play. By mastering your emotions and centering yourself, you can exude calm, unshakable confidence, even in unfamiliar situations. Stoicism isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's about embracing a mindset of control and grace under pressure, a quality that's irresistibly attractive. Once your presence speaks confidence, the next step is to engage him emotionally from the very start. High-value women understand that it's not about impressing him with witty one-liners or flashy anecdotes. It's about how you make him feel in those first moments. The one of the most effective ways to do this is through the tone of your voice. A warm, steady tone can make you seem approachable and genuine, while speaking at a measured pace signals that you're composed and in control. Rushing your words or speaking too loudly can come across as nervous or overeager. Instead, pause between sentences, letting your words sink in. This unhurried pace creates an air of self-assurance that's hard to ignore. Body language also plays a crucial role. When you meet him, make eye contact, not too much that it feels intense, but enough to show that you're present and engaged. A genuine smile paired with a light tilt of your head when he speaks conveys openness and interest. These subtle gestures communicate warmth and attentiveness, qualities that immediately set you apart. And let's not forget the power of touch. Something as simple as a firm, confident handshake or a light touch on the arm during conversation can create a sense of connection. These small, intentional gestures are often more impactful than words because they speak to his subconscious, creating a sense of intimacy without being overt. But here's where most women get it wrong. They try too hard to impress. They think a first impression needs to be loud, dazzling, or filled with clever remarks. High-value women know that less is often more. The goal isn't to overwhelm him with your brilliance, it's to make him curious enough to want to know more. This ties back to the power of mystery. Your first impression should leave a subtle but lasting imprint, something he can't quite put into words but can't stop thinking about. The one way to achieve this is to focus on how he feels during the interaction. People are naturally drawn to those who make them feel good about themselves. By showing genuine interest in what he's saying, asking thoughtful questions, and reflecting his energy, you create a positive emotional experience he'll associate with you. For example, if he shares something personal, acknowledge it in a way that feels authentic. That's such an interesting perspective. I've never thought about it like that before. It's also important to recognize the power of leaving a little undone. When the conversation feels like it's starting to wind down, resist the urge to keep it going just to fill the silence. Instead, exit gracefully, leaving him on a high note. For instance, you might say, "I've really enjoyed talking with you. I'd love to continue this another time." This signals that you value your time and creates anticipation for the next interaction. First impressions are about creating a moment that feels both effortless and intentional. They're not about dazzling him with a performance or trying to predict what he'll like. They're about showing up as your most authentic, confident self. When you approach first meetings with this mindset, you're not just making a great impression, you're planting the seeds of desire. And here's the best part. When you get this right, you'll notice something remarkable. He'll start replaying those first moments in his mind. The warmth of your smile, the confidence in your voice, the way you made him feel seen and appreciated. This is the beginning of something powerful, and it all starts with a single unforgettable moment. Now that you've set the stage for desire, let's explore how to keep that energy alive by mastering the art of emotional distance. So this next principle will show you how absence can make his heart grow fonder. 4. The push-pull dynamic, the art of absence. Have you ever noticed how much we crave what we can't have? It's a universal truth. Scarcity creates value. In the world of attraction, this principle is the foundation of what makes someone truly unforgettable. High-value women understand this instinctively. They know that while their presence is powerful, their absence can be just as impactful, if not more so. Here's the paradox of human connection. We often appreciate someone most when they're not there. It's in the moments of silence, in the spaces between interactions, that longing is born. The push-pull dynamic, being emotionally available at times and intentionally distant at others, is one of the most effective ways to make a man think about you, miss you, and crave more of your presence. But let's be clear, this isn't about playing games or manipulating emotions. The push-pull dynamic is about creating a your connection that keeps things exciting and alive. Too much push can make you seem overbearing, while too much pull can make you seem uninterested. The magic happens in the balance. It starts with how you show up when you're together. When you're present, be fully present. Give him your attention, engage with him deeply, and let your warmth shine through. In these moments, you're creating an emotional high, one that he'll carry with him long after you part ways. This is the push, the moment where you let him experience the fullness of your energy and personality. But here's the secret. After that high, you step back. You create space. This is the pull. Instead of bombarding him with texts, calls, or plans to meet up again, you allow him to miss you. You give him the chance to reflect on the connection, to replay your conversations in his mind, and to wonder when he'll see you next. Why is this so effective? Because it taps into the psychology of anticipation. When something is always available, it loses its allure. By stepping back, you create scarcity, which increases the perceived value of your presence. This principle is rooted in Stoicism, the idea of being comfortable with solitude and self-control. High-value women aren't afraid to retreat into their own world, because they know their worth isn't tied to constant validation. Let's put this into practice. Imagine you've just had an amazing conversation with him, one filled with laughter, meaningful exchanges, and undeniable chemistry. The next day, instead of sending him a message saying, "I had such a great time last night," you wait. You let him be the one to reach out. If he doesn't, that's okay. Your value isn't diminished by his response. You remain centered, calm, and self-assured, qualities that make you even more magnetic. This doesn't mean you play hard to get in an obvious way. It's not about ignoring him or being aloof. Instead, it's about maintaining your independence and not overextending yourself. For example, if he texts you in the evening, you don't have to reply immediately. Taking a few hours, or even until the next day to respond, signals that you have a full, rich life of your own. This isn't being manipulative, it's being authentic. Now let's address a concern many women have when practicing the push-pull dynamic. What if he loses interest during the pull phase? It's a valid question, but here's the truth. If he loses interest simply because you're not constantly available, he was never truly invested in the first place. A man who values you will appreciate the balance of closeness and distance. In fact, the pull phase often deepens his attraction because it gives him the space to realize how much he enjoys your company. Absence also creates a sense of mystery. When you're not constantly in his life, he starts to wonder about you. What are you doing? Who are you with? What's on your mind? This curiosity is powerful. It keeps his thoughts focused on you and builds a sense of longing. It's the emotional equivalent of planting a seed and allowing it to grow in his subconscious. Another element of the push-pull dynamic is knowing when to re-engage. Timing is everything. If you step back for too long, the connection can fade. But if you return at just the right moment, you reignite the spark with even more intensity. For example, after a few days of not reaching out, you might send him a thoughtful message that references something specific from your last conversation. This shows that you were listening and adds a personal touch that makes your return feel intentional. The beauty of this approach is that it allows you to remain in control of your emotions and actions. You're not chasing him or trying to force a connection. Instead, you're creating an environment where attraction can thrive naturally. This is the essence of Dark-Stokes Stoichology, harnessing the power of restraint and emotional balance to draw others toward you. It's also important to remember that the push-pull dynamic isn't just about the early stages of a relationship. Even in long-term connections, maintaining a balance of presence and absence keeps things fresh. When you spend time apart, you're not only giving each other room to grow individually, you're also creating opportunity. So the next time you find yourself wanting to reach out to him, pause and ask yourself, am I giving him the space to miss me? Am I stepping back enough to let him reflect on our connection? Am I staying true to my own life and interests, even as I build this relationship? By embracing the push-pull dynamic, you're not only creating a sense of longing, you're also showing him that you're a woman who values herself and her time, and that more than anything is what makes you unforgettable. Now that you've mastered the art of absence, let's dive into how to re-engage with purpose and depth. This next principle will show you how to reignite the connection and make it stronger. 5. Re-engaging with depth, thoughtful follow-ups. Absence, as we've seen, can create the space for a man to miss you, but re-engaging is where the magic happens. This is your chance to not only reignite the spark, but to deepen the emotional connection and make him crave more of your presence. High-value women understand that reaching out isn't just about sending a simple "hey" or asking, "how are you?" It's about making every interaction purposeful and meaningful. Re-engaging thoughtfully shows that you're not reaching out just to fill the silence. Instead, you're bringing something to the table, reigniting the bond you've already begun to build. This approach taps into both his emotions and his intellect, keeping you on his mind in a way that's both magnetic and unforgettable. So how do you do this? Let's start with timing. One of the most common mistakes women make is re-engaging too soon, before he's had a chance to miss them. Remember, absence creates anticipation. Give him enough space to feel that absence, but don't wait so long that the connection fades entirely. A couple of days after your last interaction is often the perfect window. It's just enough time for him to reflect on how much he enjoyed your presence without feeling neglected. When you do reach out, avoid the trap of generic or surface-level communication. A high-value woman doesn't say, "Hey, what's up?" She creates a conversation that's thoughtful and engaging. One of the best ways to do this is by referencing something specific from your last interaction. For example, "I've been thinking about what you said the other day about topic. You made such an interesting point. What made you see it that way? How did that event project situation you mentioned turn out? I was curious to hear what happened." This type of re-engagement shows that you were truly listening and that you value the substance of your conversations. It also brings back the emotional resonance of your last interaction, reminding him of how good it felt to talk to you. But re-engaging isn't just about asking questions, it's also about creating an emotional moment. Share something that evokes curiosity or a feeling of connection. For example, "I came across something today that reminded me of what you said about topic. It made me laugh. Do you want to hear about it? You know, I keep thinking about that story you told me about specific memory." It's such a great example of his unique quality. So these kinds of statements achieve two things. They make him feel seen and valued, and they create a reason for him to continue the conversation. Another powerful re-engagement tool is storytelling. If you've had an interesting or meaningful experience since you last spoke, share it with him in a way that invites him into the moment. Instead of saying, "I went to a great restaurant last night," you might say, "I went to this little hidden gem of a restaurant last night. It had the coziest vibe and the most amazing food. It felt like the kind of place you'd enjoy. Do you like discovering spots like that?" This approach is engaging because it's not just about you. It creates an opportunity for him to connect and share something about himself. And don't underestimate the power of light, playful communication. Humor and banter can create emotional highs that deepen attraction. For instance, "So I tried his favorite hobby, interest yesterday. And let's just say it did not go as planned. I'm sure you would have been much better at it." By keeping the tone light and fun, you're making the conversation enjoyable and memorable. Re-engagement is also a time to subtly reinforce the qualities that make you a high-value woman. Show him that you have a full, vibrant life of your own. If he asks what you've been up to, share something exciting or meaningful. "I've been working on this project that I'm really passionate about. It's been keeping me busy, but it's so rewarding." Statements like this show that you're not waiting around for him to fill your time. Instead, you're inviting him to be part of an already fulfilling life, which is incredibly attractive. Lastly, remember the power of emotional balance. While it's important to re-engage with warmth and depth, it's equally important not to come across as overly eager. This ties back to the principles of dark Stoic psychology, where restraint and self-assuredness amplify your presence. And when you re-engage from a place of confidence and authenticity, you naturally draw him closer without needing to push. Now let me ask you, have you ever experienced a moment where someone reached out to you in a way that felt truly thoughtful? How did it make you feel? Share your stories in the comments below. I'd love to hear about those moments that stayed with you. And if this resonates with you, don't forget to like this video and share it with someone who could use these insights. Your support helps grow our community of women learning to embrace their value and build connections that last. In the next part, we'll bring everything together by exploring how to maintain this dynamic over time, ensuring that he doesn't just miss you, but sees you as someone truly unforgettable. Let's dive into the final piece of the puzzle. 6. The power of absence. Understanding the long game. Absence is often misunderstood in relationships. Some people view it as a risky move. What if he forgets about you? What if the connection fades? High-value women know better. They understand that absence isn't about disappearing or creating doubt. It's about giving space for reflection, desire, and appreciation to flourish. Think of absence as the pause in a melody that makes the music even more beautiful. It's in these pauses that he starts to replay your conversations, remember your energy, and realize how much he enjoys having you in his life. Absence, when used wisely, isn't a tool for manipulation. It's an invitation for him to see your value more clearly. Let's explore how absence creates this dynamic and how you can use it to build a connection that grows stronger over time. Absence works because it leverages the psychological principle of scarcity. When something or someone is readily available all the time, it's easy to take them for granted. But when that presence is less frequent, it feels more special. High-value women know that being overly available can dilute their impact. Stepping back occasionally, they allow their presence to carry greater weight when they do engage. The key is in the quality of your absence. It's not about creating distance to test him or make him chase you. It's about maintaining your own life, your passions, and your independence. This ties deeply into Stoicism. A Stoic woman is grounded in her own world. She doesn't seek validation through constant interaction, but finds fulfillment in her own pursuits. This self-assuredness is what makes her so magnetic. So how do you practice absence effectively? It begins with understanding timing. After an engaging interaction, whether it's a conversation, a date, or even a text exchange, resist the urge to immediately follow up. Instead, let the moment breathe. This gives him time to process the emotions he felt when he was with you. It's in these moments of stillness that appreciation grows. During your periods of absence, focus on living your life to the fullest. Invest in your hobbies, spend time with friends, and pursue your passions. When he sees that you're fully engaged in your own life, it not only makes you more attractive, but also reinforces the idea that your time and attention are valuable. He'll start to realize that being part of your world is a privilege, not a guarantee. Absence also creates space for curiosity. When you're not constantly in touch, he'll naturally start to wonder what you're doing, who you're with, and what's on your mind. This sense of curiosity is powerful. It keeps his thoughts focused on you, even when you're not around. But absence alone isn't enough. The way you re-enter his life after a period of distance is just as important. When you do reach out, make it intentional. For example, instead of saying, "Hey, how's it going?" you might send a thoughtful message that shows you've been paying attention. "I just remembered something you said the other day. It's been on my mind. I loved your perspective on it. I saw something today that made me think of you. How's everything going with?" These types of messages remind him of your presence in a way that feels meaningful and deliberate. They show that even though you've been busy, you've still thought about him, and that's a feeling he won't forget. Another important aspect of absence is knowing when to step back again. High-value women don't overstay their welcome in someone's life. They know when to re-engage and when to retreat, creating a rhythm that keeps the connection fresh and exciting. This push-pull dynamic, as we've discussed, ensures that your presence remains a source of joy and intrigue, not something he takes for granted. Absence also gives you time to evaluate the relationship. During these moments of distance, ask yourself, how does she respond to my absence? Does he miss me, or does he seem indifferent? Do I feel valued and appreciated when we reconnect? Is this connection aligned with what I truly want? These questions are crucial, because they allow you to ensure that you're not just investing your time and energy into someone who isn't willing to meet you halfway. Remember, absence isn't just about making him miss you. It's also about giving yourself the space to reflect and grow. When done right, absence doesn't create distance. It strengthens the bond. It allows both of you to see each other's value more clearly and appreciate the connection you're building. It's a reminder that love and attraction aren't about constant availability. They're about the moments that make you want to be present for each other. By mastering the power of absence, you're not just making him miss you, you're showing him what life feels like with and without you. And that contrast is what keeps him coming back, wanting more. As we wrap up this journey, remember that being a high-value woman isn't about trying to control someone else's feelings. It's about knowing your worth, showing up authentically, and creating connections that are meaningful, balanced, and built on mutual respect. The tools we've explored, mystery, emotional impact, first impressions, the push-pull dynamic, thoughtful re-engagement, and the power of absence all work together to create a presence that's impossible to forget. Now it's your turn to take these insights and apply them to your own life. You'll be amazed at how the smallest shifts in how you speak, act, and engage can completely transform the way men see you and how you see yourself. As we bring everything together, take a moment to reflect on the journey we've explored. Being a high-value woman isn't about playing games, being someone you're not, or chasing anyone's validation. It's about embracing your own power, your confidence, and your unique presence in a way that naturally draws others toward you. Every step we've discussed, from cultivating mystery, making an emotional impact, and mastering first impressions, to understanding the push-pull dynamic, re-engaging with depth, and using absence strategically, is designed to create meaningful, lasting connections. These tools aren't just for attracting men. They're for elevating how you engage with everyone in your life while staying authentic to yourself. But let's not forget the most important part of this process, you. Being a high-value woman starts with valuing yourself first. The principles of Stoicism remind us that our emotional balance, self-worth, and inner peace come from within, not from external sources. When you embody this truth, you radiate a kind of self-assuredness that makes you magnetic to the right people. The best part? You don't have to rush. Relationships aren't a sprint. They're a slow, beautiful unfolding. By being intentional with how you speak, act, and show up in the world, you're creating the foundation for something real, something enduring. And when you approach your interactions with men through the lens of authenticity, respect, and confidence, you'll never have to worry about being forgotten. So where will you begin? Will you start by adding a touch of mystery to your conversations? Or maybe you'll experiment with creating emotional moments that leave a lasting impression. Wherever you choose to start, remember that this isn't about perfection, it's about progress. Every step you take toward becoming the best version of yourself is a step toward building deeper, more meaningful connections. Thank you for taking this journey with me. I hope these insights have inspired you, challenged you, and empowered you to embrace your value in ways you never thought possible. Remember, the power to create unforgettable connections lies within you. It's time to step into that power and let the world see the incredible woman you are. Wishing you all the best as you continue to grow, connect, and thrive. You've got this, ladies.